Hey everybody, welcome back to Lessons Learned, the podcast we aim to turn our experiences into your wisdom. I'm Randy, here today with Chris, Jared, Joe, and Talon, and today we're going to be talking about a really fun topic, breakups. Something we all go through and is never fun, but Chris, why don't you go ahead and take us on in?
Yeah, thanks for the handoff there, Phineas and Ferb. So, yeah, breakups, man. They're rough. They suck. But you know what? They're learning experiences, and you grow from it. So what we're going to do on this episode is talk about our personal experiences, because maybe there's something for you guys to learn, and take the lessons that we've learned from those and apply them to your life. So with that being said, actually, you know what? Before I hand it over to Joe, I want to highlight a good thing that happened to me today. I found my sunglasses. I lost them on Christmas. I lost them 3 weeks ago.
Where were
these
they?
Sunglasses. They're on my friend's balcony under 2 feet of snow, but the snow melted, and lo and behold, my sunglasses are now back on my head.
After you bought new ones.
Yeah, we called it too. It's like right after you buy new ones, you're gonna find them. That's exactly what
Always.
happened. 2 days later, I found them.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so that's a nice little highlight of the day.
That's good.
That's a good thing that we're going to hear before we go into a lot of probably sad stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's the mindset. I'm starting on a high end of the roller coaster before I dive down. But
Dive on it.
Anyway, Joe, let's hear it.
What's going on? I'm still trying to figure out whether Randy is Phineas or Ferb because you called them both.
Yeah,
He's
you should have said, "Hey, thanks, Phineas. This is Ferb," or something like that.
No, he's both.
Jeez.
Okay.
That's fair enough. But anyway, for anyone who doesn't know, I was actually in a relationship for 5 years. It was my only relationship.
I remember this.
But Talon actually just figured that out not too long ago.
Yeah, it's when we first tried doing this.
Let's say the first
this
time we tried to do
topic.
this and it got screwed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then-
After the episode, I'm
Smart.
just like, whoa, I had no idea you were in a relationship like that, Joe.
Yeah,
Man.
pretty serious one. But yeah, so it was going well. I loved her personality, everything about it. Like, she was an awesome person, but there was just something that it didn't click. It didn't feel right. So after some time, a few years, I kind of like pretty much sat myself down and I asked myself the question of whether I planned on marrying her, and in like no way could I envision myself like actually getting married to her. Like, not to make her sound like a bad person. She was awesome, treated me really well, but just it wasn't clicking, it wasn't connecting. I didn't see like a future being with her, like spending my whole life with her. So, I gave it some more time. I thought about it. I'm like, nah, this just isn't for me. So I decided not to waste any more of either of our times. And after 5 years, I called it quits. Yeah, it was a rough one. I did it in person. I had actually got back from my basic training in tech school and everything and got back home. I was here for a few more months still, like making sure, this is what I wanted to do.
And a few more months after that when you got stationed at home.
No, that was what I was talking about, was actually being home. But
Yeah,
I
I remember the text you sent me asking my advice, and I said, well, I mean, do what your heart feels is right,
Exactly. I texted you. I think I texted a few other people, talked to some friends, which is a good lesson right there, is get other people's opinions, I think. I mean, obviously your opinion is the number one opinion, but just kind of getting other people's outside perspective helps you formulate your own ideas. And so I texted Chris, I think that day, and he's like, well, if you're not sure about it this far in, he's like, you already have your answer. So I'm like, yep, sent it. So.
Yep. That's all you needed
Joe's
to hear.
mantra.
I ripped the Band-Aid off.
Just send it.
That's
You
honestly
can't-
what it was.
You can't say you sent it. You fucking waited 5 years.
That's true.
So,
At this moment, it was a full send.
It was a long con.
so Joe, that was. Oh no, that's horrible. You can't say that, Randy. So Joe, that was
missed
a
it.
significant amount of time. The one question I have is, did you, like, once you made this decision, did you have a feeling like you wasted a lot of time, or were you more on the side of like you appreciate the times you had and you learned a lot? Like, how do you view that?
Very good question. I feel like there was some wasted time, but not all of it. Like, so I did enjoy my time with this person. You know, I had a lot of great memories from it. You know, again, I think we treated each other well. Everything seemed fine. So it sucks that nothing came of it, because, you know, at that point, that's when you feel like the time is wasted. You know, like 5 years and I'm not getting married. It's like, that kind of hurts. I think the wasted time is, you know, I was second guessing things like probably around the 4-year mark. And I think, you know, that time frame afterwards was what I feel like was wasted, because I feel like I had my answer there, but I just kind of kept being persistent with it. And in that time frame, from when I wasn't entirely sure to when I broke up with her, I felt like that was the wasted time.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's a really difficult thing, because like you said, you were with her for 5 years. You're changing that's a huge part of your life, having a significant other for that period of time. You can't just wake up one day and be like, yeah, I'm going to break up with this person. And
Exactly.
So
it took you sending a text message to people to like make that realization. And I think that's when it becomes real. Like when you start reaching out to other people, you're like, that's when you're really feeling like you need to break up or stay together. You need to make that
Exactly.
choice.
So for the people listening to, you know, get personal with it, what made you question it? Like, what set you off? Like, I don't know if I will marry her. Like, what were the little things?
Or there's a bunch of little things. So I felt like I was missing my own time. I don't think she was clingy, but like I was always texting her. So this was a long distance relationship, actually. And my entire day, all day, every day, was like looking at my phone, texting her and everything like that. And then every night I would call her before bed, and that would last like an hour. And so I felt like it was a lot of time devoted. And then I just wasn't enjoying the time, I guess, as at certain parts. Like I would rather, you know, be playing Xbox, or I'd rather be hanging out with my friends. That sounds bad.
Wait
No,
for
yeah,
a second. I think
bizarre.
it was like 2 days ago. I saw this meme on Facebook or something, and it was just like, what was the worst excuse you've ever had to like not go on a date? And it was just like, oh, I didn't go on a date because I want to play Fallout New Vegas. And like the response was like, wait, really? Like that's terrible. And he's like, but have you ever played Fallout New Vegas?
It's pretty great.
This is the way.
Oh my gosh.
Joe,
But,
I think
If that's your thought, you might not be ready for a relationship.
yeah. But Joe, I think what you were trying to say more there was like you didn't feel you were getting the same out of it that you were putting into it.
I don't even know, because she was very giving for me as well.
I don't mean it necessarily in that regard, but I think it was more like you're putting in all this time and effort, and it's like kind of for what? Like we don't even really get to ever see each other. We're just like talking.
The amount of happiness that you got back just wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's a very accurate statement right there. And so with that being said, like I was with her from the end of my high school all the way up till I joined the military. So all my like younger 20s, I was with someone. I wasn't able to go out and have fun and like really just do my own thing without having to worry about her opinion or getting mad at me and everything like that. She got mad at me when I was out at for my 21st birthday. I was hanging out with Chris.
Yo, what up, boy?
Oh man.
Out in Nebraska going downtown, and then she was upset about that because I wasn't really texting her much. And I'm like, I think that at that point I was like, well, like if you can't let me kind of go out and have fun there, then
Yeah, there needs to be a
everything.
trust there, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like a red
Exactly.
flag.
Was it a trust thing? Like, did she think, like, was she afraid that you were going out and like maybe like cheat on her or something like that, or was it just because you weren't paying attention to her?
Yeah, so I guess the story here is it's nothing too personal, but I was at one of the clubs and I took a Snapchat video of myself and I was like just dancing, being a dummy, and there was literally a girl who waved into the camera behind me, and that was that. And it was a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of trust issues there.
Oof.
And then I didn't, obviously I used Snapchat and I didn't reply to her, and then I just put my phone away for the night pretty much. And I think that's what set her off, which I can understand, but at the same time, like it's very easy to just take a video real quick, put it away, and not have to think about anything than to actually open a text, look at it, and make a coherent response while drinking.
I mean, it was also a wave. I mean,
Well,
it's not
that's-
like she was grinding up on you, or
Well,
was she?
also-
You're making it sound
So,
good.
for me, I'm thinking about how I would react to that right now in my life. If I saw, a Snapchat from my girlfriend, there's a dude in the background, they're like at a bar, and dude just like waving into the camera. I'm like, what would I do? I mean,
Yeah.
was it
I
just
hear
a random person?
It was literally just a random person.
Oh,
There's no way to tell though. Like I'd
Photo
probably
bomb.
be mad, you know.
I mean, yeah,
I mean, like-
it's I feel like that's okay to be concerned in that situation.
I agree.
That's fine.
But at the same time, it is like that's one instance. But like if she was mad at you for going out like day drinking with your boys, you know, it's like, come on now. Like,
Saturdays are for the boys.
I'm just
Yeah.
enjoying my time with my brother, you know, like.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Right.
there's a difference, which you did both. So maybe that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, was like seeing some girl behind you, you know.
Yeah.
And
I
to be fair,
definitely
you
see
should have told her, look, I'm at a gay bar, so.
Specify
You know what?
that.
I do remember that was not the gay bar at the time.
What club did we go? There's only one club.
I think this is just a bar. It was the one underground.
Oh, there's like
Yeah.
they're all underground here.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, well,
But-
that's helpful then.
yeah, so that sucks. I mean, yeah, I remember
But-
her. I think
Sorry,
I liked her. She took care of you and like she gave everything, you know. But at the end of the day, if you're not meant to be, you're not meant to be. It'll feel right, you know.
Exactly,
So-
and I think that's the biggest thing is like looking back at it. You know, when I broke up with her, we're still on good terms now. Like I still talk to her here and there. Everything's kind of normal and fine. But when I look back at the decision to break up, I do not regret it.
Yeah.
I think it was the right decision for both of us.
Yeah. Well, that's mature of you, you know, like you realize that. And, you know, a lot of people, I think that's why there's so many divorces these days. It's like people get married because they're comparing their life and like, well, it's time for me to get married. Like they don't sit down and really question it. Like, is this exactly what I need? And
Facts.
people settle so much. They settle. And like, I was in a relationship, I'll get to it soon, where like I thought it was everything I wanted, even though there were like issues. I was like, you know what, this is what I want. Like I'm ready to marry her. Like this is awesome. And now that we're not a thing anymore, I'm like, that wasn't exactly what I wanted. I wasn't settling a lot. However, there were some pretty big things to me that like I would have wished she had, and I'll talk about it here coming
Yeah.
up. But
There's a lot of social pressure too for marriage. And I mean, Joe even said it, like one of the decisions he had was like, he sat down and was like, could I see myself married to this woman?
yeah,
And I also like, because we also asked the questions like, was time wasted? And he like, I think that's personally, I think that's a weird thing to ask, because I don't think all relationships have to end in a marriage. Like, I think you can have a very meaningful relationship where you get a lot from it. And yes, even if you break up after like 5 years or however long, if it doesn't end in marriage, I feel like that doesn't just automatically make it time wasted that you could have spent with someone else. I don't
no,
know. Yeah.
for sure. But you know, like marriage is the end goal, isn't it? For some people, it isn't. But I
For
think
some
for,
people.
you know, like 80% of the country, world, really, marriage is the end goal. So, there's a lot of pressure to like on yourself from society's view. You know, it's like me, I'm 27. The day I hit 30, people are gonna like, you're 30, you're not like married, you don't even have like a relationship, like, and that's honestly, it's like, why should I? Like, just because you're married, and like, you never know. I'm very interested to see. This is gonna sound terrible, but all of my friends who are already married, I want to see. I wish them all the best. I hope they all make it, but I want to know, like 20 years down the road, if I was smarter waiting, you know, waiting for that exact right person.
Like you said, not settling just
Yeah.
because you feel like it was the right thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do you want to lead this into my story?
yeah, I'm gonna throw it over to you right now, Joey.
I think
Thanks
that's
for
perfect. Of course.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of marriage, I was married once.
Oof.
I'm currently
Big oof.
25. It's actually crazy to think that was 5 years ago.
that. Yeah.
So like some time has went by.
I'll be honest. I forget you've been married all the time.
Oh yeah. I mean, none of us. Like I didn't talk to any of you guys
Yeah.
when I was going through all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I barely knew you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was one of those kind of similar to you, Joe. I mean, we met in high school and we were dating all throughout high school. And we were together for like 4 years. And then I went into the military and, yeah, kind of similar to what Talon was saying too, is we just felt this pressure and it was kind of what everyone was doing around us, because, you know, going through basic training, everyone I was talking to who had a significant other, they're like, oh yeah, we're getting married after this so she can move to the base with me and all of this. So
Sounds like a good idea at the time.
sounds like a great idea. So
in the military, sometimes
What
like,
could
they,
go
they
wrong?
kind of force you like that though, because like for background for anyone,
they do.
if you're not married, your significant other means nothing to the military. Like they basically they might as well not exist.
Yeah. And so, I mean, if you meet your significant other in, or if you're like Joe and your significant other is in your hometown where you get stationed, then it'll be a lot easier. However, if you're moving from Ohio to Nebraska like I did, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense for her to move out if she couldn't really like live with me, and it wouldn't be paid for by the military because we weren't married. So what did we do? We got married. And
Full send.
yeah, so she moved in, and like 3 months went by, and then I had my first deployment, and that was 4 months. It was a little longer than some of our 2-month trips. Yeah, that was like 110 days or something.
Damn.
And everything was seemingly fine. But then I went back, and I think it was the week I got back, she was acting different. And then, I didn't really think anything of it. But then I remember one time I was like in the kitchen or something, and her phone dinged, and I thought it was my phone. So I like looked at it. I didn't like open it up or anything, but I just saw a little text pop up, and it was from an unmarked number, and it was something along the lines of like, I miss you or something like that. And I was like,
Oof.
this is weird. So it's just a phone number, and it says it has like a personal message in it. So then like, this part's hard to explain because I really don't know. Like, it's hard for me like today to grasp like how my mindset was 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago. So I saw that and I didn't confront her, which now, I mean, I was just having to talk with my girlfriend right now about what I would do today, because we just had a whole discussion about this, about my past. And yeah, I didn't respond to her, or I didn't confront her about it or anything. I just kind of like left it, and then I recognized the area code. So I was like, hey, I know someone from there. Like, we're not best friends or anything, but we're acquaintances. And I know that, I connected some dots. I'm like, okay, well, she was hanging out with my buddy's friend, my buddy's wife at the time, which they become friends. And I know my buddy is really good friends with the guy whose number was on her phone. So it was super easy to connect these dots. And, then I was basically like suffering in silence for a week or two. And then one night we were at actually our squadron holiday party, and my buddies pulled me aside and they're like, hey, like, you're not yourself. What's going on? And then I just broke down and let it all out. Like, I didn't talk to my family or anyone. I just completely closed up. But once they pulled me to the side, I talked to them and told them everything that had been going on. And then actually when I got home that night is when, my wife at the time, she was like, hey, can we talk about something? And I immediately knew what it was about. So then that's when we had that talk, and she was like, hey, I'm going to go stay with my friend and, just like take some time. So yeah, at the time, my whole world was like just flipped upside down. And, a few months went by, and I had talked to people and a couple family members about this situation. Of course, my parents are like, so I didn't really want to talk to my parents about it because before we got married, they're like, hey, you're a little young. Like, maybe give it some time. Don't get married quite yet. So I was scared to talk to them and be like, hey, you were right.
You didn't want to get the I told you so. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I mean, like when I told them, they were very caring, and they just loved me. So that was good. Although I know in their heads they're probably thinking like, it sucks, but we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So a couple more, like, I was raised Christian, and I still am today. But at the time, I was having this really big internal battle with myself because, we're taught as Christians that you should get married once and stay with that person forever, no matter what happens. But once, like, I found out that she had continued, like, she was dating this guy while we were still married.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like she, like, wow. I knew about it, and all this was going on. Like, we were living in separate households, and she continued dating him. So I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird because I was scared to confront her and like have deep conversations with her, and I think part of it was just because I didn't want to be with her anymore, and that was hard for me to, like, I was fighting myself because my religion is telling me one thing and my gut's telling me another.
See, but it's also against the 10 Commandments to commit adultery. Which
I mean, man, I don't know.
I mean, I understand it, but I know it's just that's how I would be looking at it.
Like, my thought process at the time was just so screwed up. But then we decided to get a divorce, and I don't know if it happened for a reason or what, but afterwards, I realized like what love was, and it wasn't that. What I thought love was, I thought it was, a combination of different emotions like joy and happiness and, things that make you feel cared for, like emotions like that, like a chemical reaction in the body. But love is a choice. It's not, sure, you can take all these different words of feelings of emotion and like bunch it up to equal love, but love's a choice. And what I got out of the whole situation was I didn't choose to love myself, so how could I love someone else?
Exactly. Ooh. And I didn't know you back then, so I don't know. Obviously, if I did, I'd be like, yo, like this is not right for you. Like you gotta reevaluate your life.
Yeah, and I learned a whole lot from that.
Yeah,
like I was completely different, like than I am now.
So that's one X. Now I know you. We're best friends. So
oh yeah,
I'm gonna push you a little bit. Yeah. So this one hurts even more. I know.
Yeah. So after the whole divorce, I went through one or two like small relationships. It was nothing serious. But then my last girlfriend, we were together for 2 years. And at this point, I was a lot more like the man I am today.
Boy.
I had no boy. I had grown a lot, and I was, I had found God again, so I was more firm in my faith, in my religion, and I had worked on a lot of things personally. So it did hurt a little bit more because I was more mature.
And you guys seemed like a perfect fit from my standpoint,
Yeah. So, I mean, this one, there were like some little things, but the big thing that it came down to is she lived in Ohio and I lived in Nebraska.
Same thing with like Joey's situation.
Yeah, and we were both in the military. So we both had different deployments going on and stuff like that. And at one point, I had said that I was getting out of the military. I'm like, okay, like a year from now, I'm going to be getting out. And this is when I wanted to do personal training.
Mm-hmm.
So I had actually, I'd got my personal training certificate, and I was talking to a gym, like a big corporate gym in Ohio, and had an interview with them and everything. And then I decided that I didn't want to do that the military was more stable for me right now. Because for the longest time, I had decided that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a personal trainer. And then to kind of suddenly decide, hey, this isn't my calling. I don't want to do this. I didn't have anything else to fall back on except for the military. And I enjoyed the military. It was my calling before personal training was.
Yep.
So once that fell, I decided to re-enlist. And I mean, like after the fact, I can only imagine how she felt.
Right.
Because she had planned on getting out of the military too. So I was going to get out of the military and then like move back to Ohio. And then suddenly that changed in 4 more years. So, I mean, she came to Nebraska for a military ball and stayed for the weekend.
We went together.
Oh, we did, didn't
Yeah.
we? Yeah. And before she left, like we went to get some coffee before she drove back to Ohio, and I could tell something was up. I'm like, hey, what's wrong? Like, what do you want to talk about? And then she brought up the whole conversation about how we're so far away from each other and just that whole conversation. And then we made the collective decision that we were just going to stop dating. And yeah, that day was hard, man.
I mean, hearing it in your voice, dude, it's still hard. I don't think you ever truly get over an ex. Like you do, but that pain is always deep down in there. And like obviously it hurts less and less as time goes on. But
yeah.
Right. So now are you kind of happy that the decision was made, or where you left off at?
This is tough because I think we were pretty good for each other, but our lives just, our schedules and our work and everything just didn't equate to a lasting relationship,
And I think you guys were a good fit, but I think if it's meant to be, it's meant to be,
Right.
I mean, that sounds cliche and corny, but it's true in my opinion. Like you could have worked things out. Like she could have got out, like other things could have happened. I know it's a lot to ask of somebody to do that, but it's like, it's changing their entire life.
Yeah. But so we had that conversation. She said, I don't want to give you an ultimatum and say it's the military or me. I'm not going to do that, because what if you get out of the military and then come back to Ohio and then you end up resenting me like a couple years down the line?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was very wise of her.
Yeah.
And I respect her so much for that.
She must have just watched 17 again, because, that's like, it's all about that. And then he goes back and is 17 again. And he's like, wait, no, I actually enjoy where I'm at. Like, I've seen all the stuff I've messed up. So, it's on Netflix again. I just watched it last week. No biggie. Zac Efron. What up, dude?
Totally relevant right now.
Yeah. So that's my story, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and how old are you now? 26?
25.
5? I wish I was 25 again. But
What a geezer.
I'm
Only 2
years
years.
older.
Ooh.
Wow.
Dude, I'll be 25 this year. That's scary.
Who gives a hoot? Anyway, so yeah, it's like you're 25, you're still young, man. You've already been married and divorced and like a serious relationship and ended, and now you're in a good one. Like I like who you're with now. So I think it's just you roll with the punches, man. I think that's the only thing you can do. It was the biggest lesson from all of our stories. By the end of this, I think the story you're going to hear, the theme is just roll with it. Like roll with the punches and just keep doing you, and life will get you where you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
my
that's a wrap,
story, yeah, right. My story hurts, man. Hurts big.
You done messed up, AA Ron.
Still fresh too.
Yeah, it's
Well,
still,
decently fresh.
It's been a year and it still really fucking hurts, which that tells you how much it meant to me. But Yeah. So I was dating this girl 2.5 years, right? We lived together. It was great. We moved in. We met each other and I think moved in together within like 4 months. But like,
Wow.
when it's right, it's right. And nothing was really wrong. And like, I don't regret it at all. I loved it. So, we lived together and everything like that. So before I get to how that ended, some red flags that I didn't pick up on were, vacationing. Like she did kind of lean towards what I wanted to do. Like we went to the colder places. She's more of like a beach girl. I was more of like mountains and snow. I loved it. But I always wanted to go snowboarding together and skiing because like that was a passion of mine. Like it's my favorite thing to do. And, we just it never amounted to it. Like we never went. And it would always be like, yeah, we'll go next year. And then next year came and went and we still didn't go. And like, like I really, every season I was like, hey, like I really want to do this. And it was just like, well, I'd rather go to Florida, like, okay, that's fine. I'll go. When we get back from this deployment, I'll go. I got back from the deployment and everything changed. But, little stuff like that. And then like, I guess it's not really a red flag, more of like, a lesson is to be learned there that sometimes it's important either like I switched and, we went to a beach together, made her happy. And then also if she, wanted a vacation with me and do something that I really, really enjoy. So I think that's something I've learned moving forward is I will, if your partner says like, hey, this is something like I love to do and I'd love to experience that with you. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, it's going to make your relationship stronger, And I didn't recognize that at the time, nor did she, apparently. But so that's not really a red flag, just something to learn. And then, so I think like life kind of has a funny way of putting you where you're supposed to be when you messed up, like getting you back on track. And I love this girl. Like I thought for sure I was going to marry her. Like I was ring shopping and like I was good to go, gonna commit. And she was younger than me. I think she was 5 years younger than me, which like age is a number. But that also came with, she wasn't financially where I was. She wasn't career where I was. She was still going to school. And she had a major, like, it's not going to make a lot of money, but like I was cool with that, like that's a passion of hers. So
and 5 years can make a big difference when you're younger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, it's like I needed someone who could take time off and like go to Europe with me if I wanted to, because that's where I was in life. Like I've got everything I wanted in life and like I want to go experience that with somebody that I really love, really. And it couldn't happen. So stuff, I mean, it's not a red flag and it's by no fault on her. It's just different stages of life together. So that's one thing to learn. But in the end, it was me who fucked up. And, I was deployed for what was supposed to be only 75 days.
Oof.
Yeah, big rips. Started off somewhere, ended up somewhere less ideal. Got extended multiple times. So that 75 days went to 120. And so that might seem like, not a lot of time, 75 to 120. But that's 2 months, right? 120, it's 90. It's,
Math is hard.
little shy of 2 months. But I've already been gone for 75 days. And then they tell me I'm shipping off to another part of the world with people I don't know. And the worst part was, like, we had all these plans for when I got back. Like, we were going to do Christmas when I got back because I missed all the holidays. So we were going to do Christmas when I got back. We're going to wait, get each other gifts then. And got extended again. And I've said this before in previous episodes, but like that just really sucked. It was really hard. But prior to me getting extended, your boy fucked up big time and cheated. And that is a decision I'll regret for the rest of my life. You've been on one end of it, as have I in a previous relationship that I thought was serious at the time, but I'm glad it wasn't. I'm glad I'm at where I am now. But
that's what pushed you into the Air Force, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that one's not as important. But this, on cheating, if you really love somebody, there is a difference between having sex with somebody and like continuing to see that person while you're married in your situation.
Yeah.
And in my situation, by no means am I saying this is right to do, but you know, I cheated once and I realized like that was the biggest fucking mistake of my entire life. And I stopped, like completely cut that person out of my life. And we were good friends. Cut her out of my life completely. And, you know, like there's no easy way, you know, like all right, so that happened, right? Then I got shipped off to the other side of the world. Different people, got extended multiple times. They had to send someone to my home to pick up my uniforms to then ship those out. So I had to text my girlfriend at the time saying, hey, look, I'm going to be gone for like another 2 months and I need you to pack up these uniforms.
Oof.
Yeah, someone's going to have to come get them. And like, you know, so that was like my mind's already fucked because I know what I've done and I know like it's over. I didn't want to accept it though. So like deep down, I knew my relationship was over and now I'm being sent, I mean, not to war, but the closest thing I've ever come to it in my career. And so like mentally, I was just like, dude, what the fuck is going on with me right now? And I remember, you know, like a few months prior to that, I was like, dude, life is so good right now. Like I forget what it feels like to have something bad happen. And that was the dumbest thing I'll ever fucking say. I'm never going to say that shit again.
And then 2020 happened,
dude,
Chris.
Yeah, it's all my fault. But no, so, you know, I finish up that deployment, long story short. I come home, you know, we FaceTimed every day. And I had talked to people like, hey, like, what do I do? Like, I know I fucked up. Like, what do I do to try and keep this? And, you know, some people said, can you bury it and will it happen again? I was like, I don't know if I can bury it, but I can tell you it's never going to happen again. And they're like, all right, well, if it's eating you alive, which it was, then you need to tell her. But if you think you can bury it and move on and just like live with yourself, then try it and try and just be the best person you can from then on out. Which, looking back, that's horrible advice. It's nice. It's nice to make someone feel better, but horrible advice.
Yeah.
Facts.
The best advice I got was my friend Britt Chris. I said, mate, this is what I've done. He's like, you're a fucking cunt. Like, he's like, you're a fucking cunt. Like, you're an idiot. And I have no sympathy for you. Like, you fucked up and you need to tell her. He said, you can either bury it like a man and like, which here's that fucking masculinity mask, right? Like a man, which is bad advice. He was more persuading me. He's like, I know you're not going to be able to bear it. You need to just rip off the Band-Aid, dude. And, you know, I was like, you're right. Like that's what I needed to hear, not what I wanted to hear. So I got both. And so I buried it. You know, I can't call her up while deployed. I can't call her up and be like, hey, I cheated on you. I don't know what you want to do with our living situation and everything, but when I come home, I don't know, whatever you want. Like you can't do that. So I held it in until I got home, which, as the deployment story goes, went way longer than I thought it would.
So you held it in a lot longer than you were anticipating. Yep.
Yes. So it was not fun. But I got home and I tried to bury it for another week, and I was like, I can do this. Like, we were going on dates and it was nice, but dude, I couldn't look her in the eyes. I literally could not. We went on dates and I was literally sweating. Like, I felt so guilty. And to the point where if I wasn't doing something like being active, I went home and slept because I didn't want to talk to her. Like, I didn't want to confront her with with what I've done. But at the end of the day, dude, it was like, and everyone was treating me so well. Like, I got back from deployment, like, oh, thank you for your service, blah, blah, blah. Here's, like, I went to her, where she worked, and they gave me like a free haircut, and they're like, hey, thanks for everything you've done. I was like, fuck. It was like a dagger in the heart, man. And it's just like, I got home one day and I was literally on the couch crying as she was in the kitchen, and I texted my buddy, like, hey, dude, I hadn't even told him. I was like, this is what happened. I'm about to tell her right now. Like, what do you think? He's like, dude, tell her. Like, you have to.
Yeah.
Another good advice. And so I told her, and, she took it as well as you could expect anyone to take it. Just started bawling her eyes out and moved out shortly after. And that shit sucked. Like, the pain that I caused to her is the worst feeling I've ever felt in my life. And I will never, ever do that again. So, I mean, there's just no coming back from it. Like, you've destroyed somebody's life, not like their entire life, but you know, it comes back to like, is that time wasted? For them, yeah, now it is. Because, I mean, they might have good memories, but now those memories come with pain that's attached.
And trust issues as well.
Yeah. So to me, like that, I'm not over it. Like it's been a year. Like I'm over her, you know, like I'm okay with being broken up, but I'm still not over the pain that I caused her. And like, it's rough. It's really hard to live with that. But like I said, you know, life has a funny way of putting you where you need to be. You know, 2020 sucked for everybody, but I went through that breakup. Then my grandfather passed, and that entire year I was completely alone, and that really sucked. Like, you guys are all here and you guys are friends, but there's something different when you spent 2.5 years with somebody that you can tell everything to, and like every emotion, and they understand you as a person deep down, and then it's just gone. And then something like your grandfather dies. Like, it sucked. But you know, it's self-inflicted, and Chris is right. Like, I was a cunt. Like, if I truly, truly loved her, that would have never happened. And I think that's the hardest thing for me to accept, is because like I thought I did, but you know, like I could have. That situation would have never came up. So
Yeah, and that's where it's nice to have your friends to come into effect, like what you were saying. I think you, Jared, and myself all had friends who gave the advice, their outside look onto our lives, and were able to kind of help us come to a better conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, like, so now I'm looking back and like, yeah, I would have been happy marrying her, but I feel like I wouldn't have lived in life to the fullest potential that I could with her. And like, again, nothing on her. She was great. And it was me that fucked up. But you know, there's someone who's more right for you out there when you're going through things like this. And like, I need someone who's, you know, who might love snowboarding as I do, or someone who's got a career set and like can take time off and financially set already and like closer to my age, you know. And it's just like, you play the cards you're dealt. And to me, I did everything I could with it, and in the long run, I was the one who messed up. Oh, an important topic to talk about this was, I told you how I was ring shopping, like ready to propose to her when I got back. Texting her sister. Her sister said, "Hey, I don't think it's a good idea." You know, I was like, "Oh, okay. Like, that's fucked up, but okay." And then, you know, I texted her and I called her. I was like, "Hey, like, I was applying to commission to become a pilot." And I was like, "Hey," a year ago, I had this conversation with her. I was like, "Hey, if I get selected, we're going to have to move together." She's like, "Okay, like, I'm fine with that." And then, you know, like 6 months prior, I was like, "Hey, you still good with this?" She's like, "Yep, I'm good with it." Then I'm deployed and I'm like, "Hey, results are coming out this month," you know, because I got extended. I was supposed to be home for those results. And she says, "I don't know." And I was like, "What the fuck? What do you mean you don't know? Like, you helped me write this package." So yeah, she helped me write that packet, and now she's second guessing everything. And I was like, "Hey, so if you're still my girlfriend and I have to move, either A, we're going to be apart for a year straight, or 2, maybe, or you can move with me and try and find a job in the middle of nowhere where I'm going to be going through training, or C, we get married and you just come with me and don't really have to work and I can support you." None of those are good options. If you were put in that situation, none of those are appealing, dude, because that's a lot of sacrifice for me to pursue my career dreams, right? Whereas I'm just like, "Well, sorry, you got to tag along. I don't know if you want to put your life on hold for me, but you're going to have to." So like, I understand her decision, you know. It was like, well, I'm not going to get married for that reason. And that's very smart of her. And I know a lot of military people that do. Well, oh, so if we want to keep together and move, we have to get married? Okay, sweet. That's why everyone gets married. So, terrible idea.
Accurate.
So, you know, good on her. It's not what I wanted to hear, though. And then, so to me, what I heard was, there's an end to this relationship somewhere. And that was a very, very hard pill to swallow. Holy shit.
There it is.
While deployed,
Easy.
too. And that was prior to me cheating. And, like, that was a major blow to me. Like, fuck, like, my relationship's over no matter what. and then I cheated, which I fucking sabotaged it myself. So go figure. But I mean, that's a big factor. So when someone tells you they're not going to marry you before you even proposed, like, what do you do? Like, okay, well, this isn't going anywhere then. Are we wasting time? And it's just one of those things where, like, I think the theme with all these relationships are, you know, it's not perfect, but we're trying to make it that way. And in the end, it doesn't amount to anything.
I think it's really important in any relationship to talk clearly about what you want in a relationship.
Yep.
Talk about your needs, so that way your partner knows what you need, and then also like what you should expect of them and what they should expect of you. I think it's really important to make that clear, but sometimes, like in your situation, you have that conversation, but your mind changes over a year.
Yep.
And that's a tough decision to make.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the lessons learned is like, you know, the second you feel something's wrong, you need to just get out, and before that even happens, actually, like you said, have that conversation. Like, this is before you get invested in me. If I apply for jobs elsewhere, like, I'm going to have to move, and like, I don't know where that'll leave us. And it's not like, you know, a lot of times, like, we'll cross that bridge when it gets there. You can't, like, you need to have that conversation. Otherwise, you're going to be second guessing your entire relationship.
Yeah. I think that's one big reason that my marriage failed, is because we didn't know what we wanted.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know, like, I read a book, The 5 Love Languages, like a month after we got divorced.
There's the book reference.
So okay, it's a really good book, 5 Love Languages. If you haven't read it, I would definitely recommend it. Because I didn't know what kind of love that I needed, you know, what I needed in a relationship, and I didn't know what she needed. We never had these talks like, hey, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what I expect, and vice versa. So I think that played a huge role in that final result.
Yeah. You know, communication's key from here on out. Like, I'm obviously never going to cheat again. And if I even have the thought of, like, you know, like, I don't love this person, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off and don't drag it on. You just got to send it, like Joe.
Hell yeah, brother.
I think Joe's probably the smartest
Hell
one out
yeah,
of all of
brother.
us right now, this episode. Just send it.
Yeah. So I think this might help your ego a little bit, Chris, but I think it's really impressive for you to be able to, like, look back on it, and like you kind of see, like, maybe it wasn't the best relationship, and you can see, like, those red flags and everything, but you still know that what you did was wrong, and you're not calling it like a blessing in disguise or anything.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And also, like, having the courage to come on here on the podcast and talk about it. And it's only been like a year. It's not like this has been like, you know, 6 or 7 years or anything. That's easier to talk about.
It's been like 9 months, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's still fresh.
So yeah, good on you for talking about it.
And that's the other thing, is like, I didn't have to tell her, but who am I to, in my mind, I was like, I can't propose to you knowing what I've done. So, like,
Your head would have also exploded.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I told her, I was like, you know how much I love you, right? And she said, yeah. I was like, and this deployment was really fucking hard for me for like a couple reasons, but, you know, like, I can't propose to you and move on and waste any more of your time without you knowing that I cheated on you. And like, I really hope we can make it work, and like, I will never do that again. But like, and you know, I didn't even get the words out because you can't. And yeah, shit was changed forever. So that's that. You know, I wish her nothing but the best relationships in the future, and I wish her everything because she was great. She didn't deserve that. So yeah, that's me.
Well, damn.
Man.
Yeah.
Feel that.
So make that a lesson. You know, like I said, cheating is one of those things where, like, I think as a society, it's like shame, shame, shame. But there is bouncing back from that, you know, like it is possible. And I've seen people do it, and I've seen people, you know, happier for that. Like, if I got a second chance, it'd be like, I mean, well, I don't know exactly, but I would be the absolute best I could be. But there's also reasons why people cheat, you know, and I think it's a lot of, you need to understand, like, if you're having any thoughts like that, like, you need to have that deep conversation and reach within yourself and be like, what am I missing in this relationship that's making me even think about talking to somebody else. So, yeah.
Maybe meditate on it.
Yeah, meditate,
There
Heyo,
it is.
Tony
Hey.
Stark.
Hit up Tony Stark. What up, Iron Man? Yo, here's what I'm thinking.
But hey, like to build a little bit on what you were just saying, Chris, I think, like you said, people cheat for a reason, and I think, relationships are always a two-way street. And not that that justifies it or makes it okay, but at the same time, like when that sort of thing happens, you have to look at, well, why did this happen? Like if you were really truly happy in that relationship, would you have done it?
Right.
Or if you really thought the relationship was going to go where you wanted it to go, would you have done it? And I feel like the answer is, the devil's in the details, and it's like the answer is right in front of you, like you cheated, so the answer to that is no.
Right.
You wouldn't have done that
It's
if
just
things were the way they needed to be.
it's accepting that, and it's like a battle within your own head. It's like, well, I want it to be there, but deep down, it's not what you want. So
Let me clarify, ladies and gentlemen, we do not condone cheating here at Lessons
no,
Learned.
not at all.
I feel like that's been specified.
So that's us three. So how about you other two hooligans?
I feel like
Oh,
Randy
boy.
should go first because Talon is the unique one here.
See, Randy's
Yeah.
been single for like ever. So I think his
Yeah,
last
that's what I
breakup
was
was
gonna-
like at
He's
age
just-
8.
You just stole my thunder. I was going to say, you can't have breakups if you don't have relationships.
Boom.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Well,
no, but I
nice.
do have one I would like to talk about.
Go for it.
It was back in high school. So everybody's going to play the underdeveloped brain card.
But it's true.
Well, and it's still not developed.
But it's also
That's
true.
still
I was
not-
just going to say my brain is still not developed, so it's fine. But, all right, so I dated this girl for, same as Chris, actually, 2.5 years. Our
Time out, real
situation
quick.
was-
I'm sorry to cut you off. Is that like?
Yeah.
Is that the timeline? Like, I feel
It's
like
gotta
us
be.
three is like 2-year mark is kind of a big deal.
It's got to be. Yeah.
But now I'm gonna second guess every relationship I'm in now. Like, oh god, 2 years,
You
2
get
years
that
coming
point,
up.
like,
Oh shit.
Oh no.
Anyway, go on.
All right, so we dated for about 2.5 years, and I had. All right, let me first say that there were no signals that she wanted to break up with me, none whatsoever, or at least none that I had noticed at the time, and I'll get into that more, as we go forward.
Well, you spoiled the
But-
ending.
Oof.
Well, we all knew we were gonna break up. That's what this episode's about.
Yeah, idiot.
Unoof.
God. So I actually got a text one night from one of her friends, and she said, "You have to break up with her." And I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, exactly. I was like, yeah, pretty much. No. So what it, basically what it all boiled down to is she wanted to break up, but she wouldn't break up with me.
Mm.
And, and like, I'm not taking this from, word from somebody else. And I said to her friend, I was like, well, then if she wants to break up with me, then she can break up with me, or at least tell me that. Because I'm not going to believe somebody, like I can't tell you how many times when we were together that we had people try and tell us stuff like to break us up. So it's like, I'm not going to just take it, with a grain of salt that somebody's telling me, oh, you have to break up with her. Like, no, that's stupid. So ultimately, all said and done, I don't know, I'd say about like a week went by or so. And, one or more of her friends throughout that week had said to me, you have to break up with her. So finally, we get to like the end of that week, and I'm like, listen, everybody keeps telling me I have to break up with you. So like, what is going on? And, I got the classic line of, I still love you, but I don't want to go out with you anymore.
So I don't.
Which,
love
yeah, try and make sense of that one. So, ultimately we ended up breaking up, and like we stayed friends afterwards, so that was fine. But it was just, number one, I said it in the beginning, there were signals there that I just really didn't pick up on. So, for instance, the one big one, and we've talked about this a lot, how I played baseball growing up. And I played a lot of baseball. And in particular, when we were dating, I was playing a lot of baseball. So there was a lot of times where like, and she was great. She was super supportive. She would come to, all my games. And, she put a lot into it. And it was kind of like what Joe was saying about putting a lot in and not getting a lot back out. And I think that was the case for her, was she was putting more into the relationship than she was getting out of it because I was so busy with sports. And then she kind of was like, well, you either got to pick between me and baseball. Like, are you going to play less baseball? And I was like, well, no, but I still want to go out with you. And she was like, well, I still want to go out with you too. And then that's kind of, and I think because she didn't have the tough conversation with me, and, again, that kind of goes with being high schoolers. I didn't take that as like, oh, this relationship's going to be over if I don't do something different. Like that was, oh, okay, well, we're still going to go out. So
Yeah, that's all you heard.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So, we ended up breaking up, and it was really hard on me because I in no way, shape, or form wanted to break up. And especially when you're that age and you're in a relationship like that and you're in a relationship that long, you're like, well, I'm going to get married to this person. So I had a really hard time with it. And at the same time, I didn't have great support around me. Like,
yeah, I was gone.
And I think everybody's message was sound. I think it was just the way it was being conveyed to me. Like, my one buddy would be like, oh, well, fuck her, dude. And it's like, I was like, all right, well, that's not really what I want to hear. Like, now, like, I still love this girl.
I mean, that's high school friends, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But like, even my dad, was, he said, oh, you're better off. And it's like, that's not what I want to hear, but it probably is what I needed to hear. Yeah. But, it was just, the point I'm trying to make is what I think I would do differently. And I guess the lesson that I took away from that situation was when somebody says something to you, and I'll just use the baseball thing as for the example again, but like when someone says to you, like, are you going to play less baseball or are you going to like take this relationship more seriously? That's kind of a big red flag.
Yeah. That can be like Jared's situation. Like,
I was going to say,
are you going to re-enlist?
Yeah.
Like
giving someone an ultimatum is a very bad sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And but like I think the problem was she did that without doing it. Like she gave me the ultimatum, but then she kind of like reneged on it where it was, there was like no consequence.
Right.
To it. It was kind of like,
well, we're still going to go out.
Baseball? Well, no. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you thought.
So yeah, exactly. But I think like I think the tough part was just not hearing it from her. Like, I think it wouldn't have been as bad if she had just said to me, like, oh, I want to break up.
Yeah.
Or if we don't change this, this, and this, we're going to break up.
Yeah.
And
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
That's just that high school mentality of like, you obviously don't have many experience with this, like all of us are older now. So we've experienced this once or twice and it's like, okay, now I've learned from this and I know how to do it in the future. Yeah.
And I mean, like, it really messed me up. And, like, there's honestly, even thinking back on it, there's parts of me that wishes I did do something different and that we didn't break up. Because, like, there are honestly parts of me that think we could still be dating today. I mean, you never know. Like, that was 15 years ago, so who knows what happens over the course of...
15 years ago?
Well,
you're obviously joking.
No way.
I thought you were serious for a second.
No,
math,
actually,
like, wait a second. Then you were like 7.
No, that's not accurate. It's like 12 years ago,
yes.
probably.
Okay.
Still, holy fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's high school time.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I mean, it was tough, and just getting through that, like, and I like I said, I didn't have a great support structure. I didn't really have a way to get through it. Like, I mean, I played baseball every day, and that took my mind off of it for a couple hours, but like, I didn't really have ways away from it and ways around it, and like, we all were kind of part of the same friends group, so even just like seeing my friends was like kind of a big deal. And then like I said, we kind of stayed friendly and we hung out afterward, and even that made it tough. So I mean, it was really hard. But
yeah, I think going through a breakup, from what I've learned, before we get into Talon, is as hard as it is to just like cold turkey that shit, man. Like, you're broken up, block them on everything, delete the number, delete the pictures. That it's fucking hard, but it's necessary. Like, I reached out.
All right, actually, can I say it's funny? It's funny you mention that, because so I had a picture of her that she had given me, and it was probably like a school photo.
Yeah.
But I had that picture in my drawer. I think it had to be I think it had to probably have been like a year and a half
Yeah, dude.
after we
because,
broke
like,
up that I had that picture in the drawer.
you're still
and like
clinging
I
on
even
to
had
hope.
other relationships in that time, but like that picture was still there.
Yeah.
Is this girl still single?
No,
Still gotta send it.
no,
you might
she's
have
not.
it. I was gonna say you
No.
might still have a chance.
And honest, well, there's other. I won't get into the other details, but then as much as I think I might have been able to say with her, there's other things that I see that I'm like, oh God, no.
Oh God, no.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
more mature.
I'm saved.
Yeah.
So one day we'll get you a girlfriend. You know, maybe the same time I get another girlfriend eventually.
Eventually, yeah. Hey, that'd be great.
Probably just turn
Me and
gay for
Randy
each
can-
other, and we're both happy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, there's
that took a turn for not where I was going.
No, that's I don't know. That might be you and Jared.
Well, that already is. But,
I wouldn't want to get in between that relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
step off.
or would you?
Ugh.
Anyway,
Easier, Jared. I know you got big muscles.
yeah. So let's turn it over to the one man who's done it. He's there. He's at the finish line.
He made it.
The successor.
Yeah, so I haven't had a breakup in a long time. I mean, this month will be 60 years that I've been together with my now current wife.
Damn, son.
Yeah,
So,
so-
wait, you got married at 18,
Yes,
and it worked.
Round of applause.
it worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
Here's a
So,
rare case.
Congrats.
Actually, quick shout out to like our family and everything like that. So her grandparents, because it was after I finished tech school, after I finished survival school and everything, we were like, we really want to be together, but at the same time, but in the military, if you're not married, like I said, the military doesn't care,
Yeah.
and you will not live together
Yeah.
unless like you have enough money to like afford it, and without the military and everything. So her grandparents told us, it's like, oh, you guys should just go get eloped. So we went and got eloped. Like, we were only together for a year at that point. So we got eloped
Wow.
after a year. I proposed to her just a month before, and we didn't actually tell our parents because we were like, oh, we'll probably actually like do an actual like ceremony someday or something like that. Oh yeah. But we'll actually do a ceremony someday. So we never told anyone else except like maybe close friends and stuff like that until just this last time for Christmas. Because we were finally like, oh, we don't know if we're gonna do a ceremony because we don't care. Like we don't see it as us.
Yeah.
So we actually just told our parents and like grandparents and all of that like just a couple weeks ago.
Wait.
Yeah.
You've been married for
Oh
6
my
weeks or
God.
6 years?
Huh? Almost 5.
Wait,
5 years together for 6 years.
And
Married
you
5
just
years.
told them you're married?
Yeah.
Oh my
Congrats.
God.
What the fuck?
like I
I
said,
couldn't
because
hide that
we,
shit from my
we,
parents for 6 months.
Yeah, we wanted to do an actual ceremony for like the longest time. So we were just like, oh, we'll just tell them then, because we're like, to us, it's like we got married at the courthouse, so it's just like, oh, it's just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So it's like we were just like, because like, we were only together for a year, and we didn't want that judgment kind
Right.
of thing at the time, because we were both I was 19, she was 18. So we just didn't want that at the time. So that's why we didn't tell them right away. And after so many years, it just became normal. And we're like, oh, like we should just tell them, especially because like now we decide we don't want a ceremony.
5 years later.
Did
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
Wait, did you tell your parents when you got married?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, okay. So straight up, we got a card, and then like on the front of it, it just said like we got hitched. They opened it up like 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
They all took
what
it
was
really
their
well.
response?
They all took it really well. My mom cried. She's like, "I knew it," because you can't really hide. Like they know to some degree,
Yeah.
like especially parents.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but they were like, "Yeah, thanks for actually like finally telling me." And, like
Yeah.
everyone was like super supportive about it. And
Was
they
that
were like,
Mr. D? It's sneaky.
"Yeah, exactly." But so yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
haven't had
funny.
a breakup for 6 years. Yeah, 6 years. Almost 7 years. Yeah, almost 7 years. And so that was back in high school, because my current
Get on
wife
my
was
level.
yeah, my current wife is my high school sweetheart. And so
Aw.
I had actually quite a few relationships when I was in high school, but like they were all early on, like freshman year and stuff like that. So do they really count? No.
Talon's a player.
But
Oh yeah, brother.
throughout high school, I did have a girlfriend for over 2 years, almost 3 years. It was like the end of freshman year until almost pretty much like almost a senior year. And so we were together, and it was kind of like, I mean, we were in high school, like neither of us had cars or anything like that for like the longest time. And her parents didn't know that we were together because they were like a really strict Latino family. And her dad is like, you'll not be with a man, like with a boy until like you're an adult. So like she didn't tell her parents whatsoever. So like when we did go on dates, she would be like, oh yeah, I'm just going out like to the movies with a friend or something like that. So
Oh.
yeah, so we didn't. honestly, we didn't get like great quality time or anything like that. And since we were in high school, we didn't have cars. We couldn't go out and like see each other whenever we wanted to. So I mean, pretty much every day was just like texting or calling or something like that. And I kind of got the same thing as like Joe, is like when you're not physically with someone and you're just constantly texting someone, after a while, you're not enjoying that time. Because you have to because like when you have to text or call someone, you have to dedicate so much time to just that. But if they're with you, you can do things together.
Right.
But it's like
a chore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like there'd be, I mean, exactly like just like Joe, I'd be playing video games like just on Xbox, but like constantly I'd be like texting back, and like I couldn't enjoy what I was doing, like what was physically in front of me.
Yeah.
Right. You're taken away from life pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, because your phone truly does distract you from what's in front of you. So and after like, yeah, it was senior year. I had for a little while, I wanted to break up with her just because I was like, after a while, like I just wasn't happy because we weren't seeing each other as often as I wanted to. And to like all of our friends, everyone thought like we were super happy. Like we were like the power couple kind of thing, like in high school, because very few relationships last for years in high school.
Right.
But it got to the point, like life gets real once you hit like senior year, because it's like, oh, well, shit. It's like, can I see this person like moving around with me? Can I see them like being an adult with me? Because high school really doesn't matter. Like in truth, high school is a very small part of life. So in senior year, I just had to think about it. And it's just like, I can't see my life continuing with this girl. And like literally one day, it was really fast. Just one day I was just like, you know what? I'm going to break up with her.
Wow. Cold-blooded.
Like it wasn't that casual. It wasn't that casual in my mind. Of course, I was just like, oh, I don't want to, especially after being together with someone for so long. And like that's just what you know.
Yeah.
I guess it's really, really hard because you're used to talking to that person every single day. You're used to being able to share your emotions, like what Chris said. Every emotion, like they just understand you, unlike anyone else. So it was a very difficult thing, but it was kind of sudden, and I had to make it sudden because if I thought about it too much, I wouldn't go through it. Mm-hmm. So it was sudden. And like I walked her to her classroom because it was at school, which was
Oh no.
a terrible time. But like I said, it had to be sudden, otherwise I wouldn't have done it. If I thought through it, I wouldn't have done it. Just because I don't know. I'm just a chicken. I don't know.
Confrontation is hard in high school.
Yeah, it is.
That it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I walked her to her classroom, and like right there, I'm just like, I want to break up with you. And like immediately she just like stopped. Like she stopped. She didn't say anything. She just like started tearing up a little bit, just like walked into her class, didn't say anything to me. I knew her cousin.
And you were like, sweet.
Yeah, I knew her cousin, and like she's like, yeah, she didn't go to school for like the rest of that week and stuff like that. And she's
Oh my God.
yeah, and I was just like, oh, okay. And like for a while, like we were kind of like still friends afterwards, but like it's awkward.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like, I could have probably dealt with things a little bit better, but it was awkward. Like she would try and talk to me, and like I was just like, I'd be really short, and then she got mad. Like a week after we broke up, she's like, "Oh, I thought we were still gonna be friends and stuff like that." I'm just like, it's like it's awkward. Like give me time before I can be friends with you.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But I mean, a little bit later, then I started dating my current wife now. So I mean, it worked out for the best.
There you go.
Yeah.
You sent it.
Yeah,
Silver
I sent
lining.
it. Thanks, Joe. Your advice came in handy before I knew you.
Yeah, I'm
Before
glad to
you
be here
know
for
him,
you.
yeah. Hey, can I make a quick book recommendation?
Sure.
Hell
You
yeah, brother.
wait. You got a book recommendation?
Whoa.
I have a book
What?
recommendation.
Oh shit.
I learned how to read just so I could make this book recommendation.
Go ahead.
Shoot.
The Covert Arts of Dating, written by Talon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I knew,
So you
I
have
knew
to
you
write
still
that
couldn't
book
read.
now.
Oh, too good to be true.
I'll get onto it right now.
Yeah, get going on that, because my God, you are a genius, man.
New York
Chris
Times
said, "Oh
bestseller.
yeah," and then just got taken back. Like, wait, what did I just hear?
So yeah, breakups, man, they suck. And I don't think, like you're always like, well, can I be friends? Can we still be friends? And yeah, but it's always going to be
No.
weird. So the answer is really no. It's just you have to realize that. Especially if it's a serious relationship and you fucked up like as bad as I did, and like you still expect them to maybe want to be friends, like what are you thinking? Like that's never gonna happen. Like breakups happen for a reason. You're not happy, stuff just doesn't work out. Life sucks sometimes. I mean, it is what it is, but you roll with the punches, and life will get you where you need to be. And like we said multiple times, you just can't compare yourself to others. Like I'm older than all of you. I'm not even in a relationship. Talon's married. Jared's got a girlfriend, been divorced, Joey's single, Randy's never going to get another relationship.
Perpetually single.
But you know, like, it is what it is. You're living life. So that's the key thing is breakups suck. They're going to happen. But you can prevent them and you can prevent pain by having those very tough conversations, either A, up front, or B, don't waste their time once you start feeling second thoughts. So there you go.
All right, guys, this has been Lessons Learned. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and go follow our other social media pages linked in the description. From all of us here at Lessons Learned, have a good day and see ya!